In this video, I want to talk about how to deal with negative comments and even insults, especially on something like a YouTube channel or a blog. Oh, what this? Yeah, you can thank Malakai from Ascent Agency for this little number. He picked it up for me very kindly on Amazon when I said that I wasn't going to buy something like this. So thank you, Malakai. I figured I'd wear it in this video related directly to dealing with insults and negative comments. So I want to preface this video by saying that 99% of the emails and comments and social media posts I get are not only positive, but they're engaging, they're communicative, they're thought out, they offer constructive arguments. This is absolutely horrible to wear. If they offer arguments at all, they're usually well constructed, and best of all is when people ask me questions. I absolutely love it when people ask me questions. However, of course, I also attract, as everyone does, their fair share of negative attention. And this is one of the reasons that people don't create content, is because they're afraid of the negative comments and community that's out there that have a habit of saying just nasty things. I have a pretty unorthodox way of dealing with negative comments. I've seen a lot of people try to go down the rabbit hole of arguing against people or trying to engage in a dialogue, and it just doesn't work. What I want to do is take you through a real life example of someone who's completely missed the mark, given a pretty dumb comment, and I'm going to show you how I respond to them. So let's jump over to the monitor. We're going to head into YouTube Studio and I'll take you through my process for dealing with negative comments. And I'm going to jump in here to a comment. This was left a little while ago by someone, and I'm not going to argue the comment. What I want to do is take you through the process on how to deal with comments like this. This is on my video about using Orabi instead of Google Analytics. So instead of learning how to advance your skills of Google Analytics and integrations, you'll pay hundreds of dollars a month to get some things they call actionable. You can take the information in Google and convert it into action. I do it all the time, and I never took a course or have a degree. Most of it's very straightforward. This is 100% snake oil and overpriced, directed towards business owners who don't know what they're doing and companies who feel they can save money by firing their analysts. The immediate reaction is to counter it and say, actually, you've completely missed the point. But what I want to do is the first thing is give it some time. The beautiful thing about the internet is I don't have to respond in real time. I do like to respond to comments because I think it's important for the algorithms and the engagement ratios and stuff like that, but I don't feel I have to respond immediately. And it's really important that you understand that. In fact, some people will even try to bait you into responding immediately, but it's important for you to know that you are under no obligation ever to respond immediately to any kind of email or communication or comment or anything like that. So first of all, take a breath, step away from it. Typically, I don't respond until all comments until the next day. Something else I like to try and do is to collect insults, which sounds a bit strange. I remember one of the comments on my book, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And I was like, that seems to be a fairly common theme throughout a lot of my YouTube comments, podcasts, blog posts. So I've made it into a bit of a game for me to collect insults. Typically, it's around me being a bullshit hype marketing salesperson who just sells info products, which I guess is kind of true. The more I begin to collect these insults, the more I begin to see who they're coming from, and it actually devalues them, because if everyone starts using that same insult, it means a bit less in a funny way. You've also got to understand that anything anyone says is a direct reflection of themselves and how they feel about themselves, especially in a published medium like YouTube. For example, if someone challenges your intelligence or your looks, that is the thing that they are most insecure about. If someone says you don't know what you're talking about and you don't have the experience, that's the thing that they are most insecure about in themselves. Intelligence is a pretty common one for people to go after on the internet for some reason, and that is usually because it's the thing that they are most concerned about and worried about. So if you step out of the comment that someone said and read it as if they were saying it to themselves, it sounds really bizarre, but I promise you it will flip what you think about the comment, because you realize it's actually just a direct reflection of what they think about themselves and what they're worried about other people will see them as. A really common one that I used to get when starting like building marketing funnels and using WordPress was WordPress agencies and old school people saying, oh, this is an absolute scam. I can't believe you'd use WordPress and sell it for 25 grand. You don't have the experience. You don't have the skill set to be able to deliver this. If you talk to them and understand it, it's because that's what they were most concerned that their customers thought about them. So anything anyone says is a direct reflection of how they see themselves. Whether we like it or not, we can't change someone's mind, so it's impossible and pointless and fruitless for me to jump onto the comments and try to direct them and steer them in another path. They've already decided that's their viewpoint. They've already decided that's the hill they're going to die on, and that's the stone tablet they've carved out. And they've decided that by writing it and putting it in a public forum. There's no point in me trying to change their mind. So what I like to do is I like to agree with them and then add to the joke. I want you to imagine a 4-year-old coming up to you and calling you a poo-poo head, which obviously if a 4-year-old called me a poo-poo head, I'd smack them out because I could take them easily. But if a 4-year-old came up and called you a poo-poo head, you would laugh at the insult a little bit. Even though they're being really angry and they're being really frustrated and they call you something which they think is offensive or even hurtful, you kind of laugh at it for 2 reasons. First of all, because they're a child. They're acting out of frustration. It's almost cute. You don't really take their insult to heart. It's not something that you're going to really reflect on and say, this child obviously has an incredible insight into my values and they know full well that, yeah, deep down, I am a poo-poo head. You don't take it seriously, which is why it's often funny when children insult you. Because you don't take it seriously, that's what becomes extremely infuriating to them. Teenagers as well, when they kind of rant and rave. I am getting so hot and sweaty under these lights with this thing. Malakai, I loathe that you've bought this for me. When teenagers get all ranty and ravey and start screaming and sharing it, and parents ignore it because they don't really value the argument that the teenager brings, that's more infuriating to the teenager. The parent doesn't actually get insulted with all the names the teenager is calling them because they know, well, you're a teenager, you don't know anything. So it's impossible for me to take your judgment of who I am. I think Rick Sanchez said it best.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Long and short, if I wouldn't take advice from you, I sure as shit am not going to listen to your criticisms. What I like to do is agree with them. First thing, it really throws them off. And the thing is, technically, this guy's right. I am a business owner who doesn't know anything. I don't want to spend more time on Google Analytics. I'm not an analyst. So he's actually right. That's the funny thing about the comment, is people write these things and you go, yeah, that's my point.
Well, let me put it to you this way. There are more drownings in backyards where they have pools. If they don't have a pool, there are no drownings in backyards, okay? So the U.S. has a very high number of guns. Therefore, there is going to be more chances for somebody to be killed with a gun.
Right.
Right.
Right. That's my point.
And the second thing I like to do is add to the joke. There's quite a famous example of a Stoic who said he had written a book and one of his friends said, look, I've read your book and I can't decide whether you're a megalomaniacal despot or an idiot. And the guy responded saying, can't I be both? If you add to the joke, it again devalues the comment that the person has made and shows you that I'm actually not that worried about the things you say because I don't really rate you that highly as a person. That's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to say, couldn't agree more. Absolutely. I'm a business owner who doesn't want to learn more about Google Analytics. If you think this advice is bad, you should read my books. What I'm demonstrating here is that I'm not trying to change your mind. I don't care what your opinion is. I don't care what the comment is. You know so little about me and I know so little about you that it's impossible for me to value your criticisms. And the funny thing is, you're right. I don't think that business owners should learn more about Google Analytics. I think it's a fucking waste of time. The fact that you're angry about that says more about you than it does about me. This is a very stoic way of dealing with insults, is by collecting them, adding humor to them, realizing that nothing's that serious, and then agreeing with people about it because it takes all the power away from people. When we start to fight back against this type of shit, that's what gives them power. So in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the squeakiness of this goddamn shirt. And in the meantime, have fun. See you on the next video. Have courage, commit, and take action.